Hi friends. If you click to check out the Scott Barnes Chic palette, then please keep on watching. Hi, my name is Alicia. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I am a fitness professional who loves all things movement and beauty. If you want to check out what I do in between the makeup, head over to my Instagram. My apologies for the background noise. There's construction going on. Again, a huge thank you to Julie. She got me this Scott Barnes blush palette for Christmas and she had asked that I review it. So I am so sorry for the delay, Julie, but I'm really happy to finally dive into this palette. We'll go over product details, swatches, and demo. And for all those portions of the video, timestamps will be down below if you wish to skip over to said whatever part of the video. A little bit about Scott Barnes. If you don't know who he is a celebrity makeup artist, mostly known for his J.Lo glow, which of course, if you've seen J.Lo, you know. And this is one of his books about face. I particularly love this book. Not sure how many he has out, but with the tutorials in the book, he also has the celebrity interviews alongside of it. So I think that's really cool. And of course, he goes over his makeup techniques, his favorite types of brushes, his favorite types of products. And mostly, if you ever see his videos, he does have his own YouTube channel that his looks are very intense because they are designed for red carpet, for television, for movie. And that is very different than real life, right? So if you don't know that and you see his makeup technique, heavy on the contour highlighting and really just re-sculpting the face, you would think it's a lot for every day, but again, it's for a different role altogether. And I think he's successful in that because, I mean, he really builds these faces up, man. And I haven't tried his technique. Maybe one day we'll get on here and follow like a Scott Barnes makeup tutorial. That'll be funny. Today we're looking specifically at the Chic blush palette. Now I believe it might have been, I'm not sure if it was October or November where he released several palettes. He also has a sculpting and contour palette, which is currently sold out. I think one of the faves, the natural eyeshadow palette, his like natural but better eyeshadow palette, the Glowy Showy highlighter palette, and the Color Bomb eyeshadow palette, where you have a lot more of the vibrant, bright colors that are not found in his natural eyeshadow palette. We have the Chic to Chic. This retails for $58, and I believe all these palettes will only be found and sold from scottbarnes.com. It comes with a paper sleeve, and then you have the Scott Barnes in big letters on the lid, which I particularly really love this design, and I believe all his palettes are designed in a similar way. Some details on the palette. The total net weight, we're looking at 0.73 ounces or 20.8 grams of product. So you got a lot in here. This is made in the People's Republic of China. If you're not crazy about products made in China, I totally understand. I can't really speak about why this is more expensive than, let's say, like a Juvia's Place blush palette that's also made in China. I believe maybe the raw materials, I'm not sure if they come in different grades. Higher grade, lower grade will determine the price. Also, the machinery that is used to press powders, those prices can differ as well. Perhaps the manufacturing cost is what makes this a higher price palette, even though it is made in China. It is cruelty free. What else? Looking for a suggested shelf life. It doesn't say on here. I will only assume that it will last us at least a year or a year and a half. Here is the palette. We have some blush toppers over here on the side and the not all matte blushes. I think you got some satin moments in here, but I pulled up the website so we could read the description. Again, it is $58, and on the website it says here, the Scott Barnes Chic blush palette. Name says it all. With 6 refined and sophisticated color choices next to 2 gorgeous amplifiers, blush has never looked so vibrant. Scott designed Chic to paint color throughout the face, not exclusively to cheeks. Is multi-use is so appealing that you might find it's the answer you didn't know you needed. The amplifiers, when used correctly, will transform your face's color and sheen straight to the runway. Chic is rich, luxurious, gorgeous color for that youthful glow that we've all come to love and expect from Scott Barnes. With extremely minimal fallout and kickback on the brush, high color payoff, and being blending friendly, Chic Cheek is your answer to a youthful and luxuriously colored face. Can't wait. So I thought we would conduct this review and demo. We'll first swatch, and we'll swatch as we go, right? I'll swatch, apply it on my face. We'll get as many blush colors as we can. And since he mentioned in the description that these could be also used anywhere on the face, why not? We'll play with some of the blushes on her eyes. And with that said, why don't you come in a little closer? That's enough. Right now I have my Beat Shield sunscreen on because I am sitting in front of my window. On top of that, I have the ABH Luminous Foundation. This is 355N because I felt we were doing a lot of reapplying today, that I use a foundation that I don't use often and maybe should kind of use up. Under the eyes, I have the Dior Forever Skin Correct in, I can't even find the freaking shade, in 3N under the eyes, just to kind of, you know, start from scratch. I think I will dust a little bit of powder though under the eyes since we're here. Taking my Sonia G. Inochige Pro. Hello, why aren't you focusing on me? Excuse me. I just have some Linda Hellberg Wava Flash on my lash line because it was a very light makeup day today, but I don't think it will interfere too bad with the blush application on the lids. This also has a mirror, don't want to blind you, but on the mirror it says, my colors are blush and bashful. Is that so, Scott? Now, in the description, he did not indicate if these are all mattes. I know the amplifiers are obviously not matte, but the ones here, Strike a Pose and Crush and Blush, I thought might have had a little bit of like sheen to them, but I could be hallucinating. I could just be making stuff up. I want to try Crush and Blush as like a contour. So let's take a look at that swatch first. Very smooth. It feels really nice. And I like that it's not, well, I mean, it is pigmented, but I like that it's creamy and that it feels layerable, that I don't have to worry about going in carefully. I could just blend it successfully on my skin. But since I want a lighter application, I'm actually going to go in with my Wayne Goss Holiday Fan from 2019. I'm just going to take a little bit of Crush and Blush, yeah, and just use that here on the hollows. And since this is a little more wispy, I feel that it's not going to lay on as much color as a denser packed brush would. I do have kickback in the pan, but I did punch in the brush. So I think if you're just smart about going in with your brush in a gentle manner, that you're not going to get that kick up from the pan. And I think that's quite nice. This is like a plummy wine shade that I feel would look really beautiful on an array of skin tones. And the texture is gorgeous. I'm sorry about that. She's going away little by little every day. Now to put something on top, let's go in with Strike a Pose. It's a much softer color. This is more of like a peachy type of coral shade. And again, the texture is amazing. Very creamy to the touch. I really love how these textures feel. A smaller brush will do. With that said, picking up my Inochige Pro from Sonia G and tapping that right on top of Crush and Blush. And I particularly like this shade a lot. I think it's so lightweight. It definitely, I feel, more appropriate, perhaps closer on the apples of your cheeks. But if you insist on still applying it higher on the cheekbone, I think you will still look beautiful with that application. And I think that looks gorgeous with Crush and Blush. Higher on the cheekbone to create a little more dimension with that depth of color. And you have the lighter color from the Strike a Pose shade just to add that flush effect to the cheeks. Now, since we're on this side, I will take now just a big fluffy brush. Let's see what I got here. I got so many brushes. Taking my Tuckahoe blend brush, my little eyeshadow brush with Crush and Blush, that plummy shade, and running that quickly through my crease. But even that packs a punch. Yeah, that's crazy. I think this is a great way to use your blush. Now I'm going in with the peachy shade on my lid to add a little bit of color on the eyes if you don't like to use multiple palettes at once. But yeah, that's red, all right. It definitely looks more red on camera than it does in person. I think the warmth from the light is bringing out that tone for sure. But now I'm excited to go into these fun colors. I think these were like the ones people were most interested in, but I feel they're like the amplifiers give that sheen. The Mango Fizz and Rosé I feel are meant to increase the saturation, even like the vibrancy of your blush, which leads me to believe that if you have said blush from your collection that maybe looks a little dull on you, that you can rely on Mango Fizz and Rosé, these shades here, to kind of amp up the color. Just so you see what Mango Fizz looks by itself. I have so many brushes and I just can't decide. This is the problem. I'm just gonna stick to my Inochige Pro and dip into Mango Fizz. Mango Fizz is fun. I tried it and it definitely adds color and warmth fast to the cheek. So that's just Mango Fizz on its own, right? Maybe not a whole lot of color initially on this application, but if I take it here on top of Strike a Pose, you can see how it kind of changes the color a little bit. It adds a little bit of that warmth, but I'm happy that you see that in action, because if you just see this color online, you might assume that it's gonna look just randomly yellow-orange on your cheeks, but I don't think that's the case. I think he formulated this, again, to be layerable, so you could layer color on color and get a different effect every time. Let's go in with the Rosé. This is more of like a truer pink shade. And I'm just gonna tap that a little higher on the cheekbone. And I think that is so pretty. Both Mango Fizz and Rosé together, really, they just create a perfect flush. And looking closely here, the blending is phenomenal. No harsh lines. And I basically just tapped the powder on my skin. A great indication of the formula, that it doesn't need any swirling and twirling. You just need a tap and you're done. That's amazing. Now I want to go into Sweet Cheeks. This is more of, oh, I am so sorry. I forgot to swatch Mango Fizz and Rosé for you. So Mango Fizz, upon the swatch, you see it's like, oh my goodness me, so much color. What am I going to do with that blush? Is layerable. You can manipulate its application, and I'll, pull you in a little closer. My skin looks really smooth, and I actually did not set my face when I applied the foundation, so that is very telling as well. If you wanted to go in with these blush products, an unset foundation, I think you'll be really successful in applying the blush without it looking textured or heavy on the skin. And see that despite Mango Fizz's shade that you see in pan, it does not apply that bright and crazy on the skin, which is good to know. Now let's go in with Sweet Cheeks. I'll quickly swatch Sweet Cheeks here. So this is more of like a deeper coral shade, and on top of Sweet Cheeks we have Minimalist, which I was really excited to see, because sometimes on those days where you want your bronzer to be prominent in terms of your cheek product, but you still want a little bit of more flush. So that's Minimalist and Sweet Cheeks, I believe it was called. And these are all now the shades. So you see here, this has a little more pinky punch than Minimalist. Minimalist for me, I think it's just nice to have if you're not crazy about blush, but you want a little something something on the cheeks. Good to know. What I'll do is, I have my face halo here. I want to take this side off. I'm also going to take the shadow off, or blush shadow. And I want to start from scratch because I want to see how Sweet Cheeks looks on its own, like as a blush contour shade. I'll just take a little more of my ABH foundation, and all products will be listed down below. Taking my Wayne fan brush just to pat down some more foundation to start from scratch. I love this side. I think it's so great, especially, I think colors can be seasonal, but I would consider this to be more of a spring summer moment, I feel. And the wines and plums and even like the rose shades, I feel definitely more fall winter appropriate. Or could that just be in my head? You know what I mean? So I'm going to leave that unset just so you can see how beautifully these blush textures apply. And I'm just putting a little foundation over my lid as well so we could block that out. And did I totally destroy my eyebrow? Yes, I did. Totally and utterly destroyed. All right, going in now with Sweet Cheeks. Let's see how this looks higher on the Chic bone. Wayne Goss number 11 brush here now with Sweet Cheeks. I'm gonna put it here higher on the this. You know what? I'm just gonna do this. Think getting more color will be very helpful. A little bit on the temple as well. Ooh, that's pretty. I love that. Gorgeous color. And now let's take Minimalist, which is the lightest shade here out of the palette, and tap that right on the apples of the cheeks. Amazing! How nice is that? And just for experimental purposes, taking my Beauty Pro again, and why not? Let's use Mango Fizz to just layer over Minimalist and see what that does. That definitely kicks up the vibrancy, yeah, but it doesn't look like we applied something orange tone on the face. You know what I mean? But I think that's gorgeous. The actual blush texture on my skin looks smooth. It doesn't look artificially placed, right? It doesn't look heavy on the skin. It doesn't look uneven, splotchy, skipped. I look so vibrant and healthy. But let's now take a look at these amplifiers. I'm actually going to go in with my Hakuhodo blush brush from their 2018 holiday collection, taking the top glowy and showy shade. If you want to quickly see swatches of that, that's the top and bottom. So this is going to take more of like a champagne type of a hue, and this more of like a corally apricot type of a finish. This definitely has texture, yeah? So I would go in carefully. I'm going to... Oh, that definitely has a lot more punch than, you know. I definitely feel maybe go in with a fluffier brush just so you don't get as much. This definitely has more of an icy tone to it. Yeah, so perhaps let's see the bottom shade. This is more of like a rosy, corally type of hue that may be more appropriate, closer to the apples of the cheeks, but it is a little bit heavy. It's a little bit shimmery in nature. Perhaps not my favorite texture to wear on my face. And this I feel I have to buff down, right? So I'm taking my Beauty Pro and I'm using the tip of the brush to just buff down the shade. If you just wanted to use this exclusively as a highlight, I will take a much smaller brush. This is my Sonicgy Detail Pro, and pop it right where you want it. And if that's the case, I would just place it right here on the highest point of my cheekbone. If you wanted to take the same application, small brush, and placing it right where you want the bing, you know what I mean? If you wanted to further buff that out, you can take your favorite powder brush and just swirl and twirl over, and I feel that would soften the texture of the powder. Taking Strike a Pose with my Tuckahoe blending eye brush again, and I'm pulling that through the crease of both eyes, because I think this is a nice color to wear. If you like pink shades on the lids and you want your eyes to kind of match what's going on with the cheeks, then this is like a nice thing to do. Minimalist, the lightest blush shade in the palette, just pulling it across the lid. I think that will also soften up Strike a Pose if you think it's too pinky. And then I'll go in with a small pencil brush or even a small shader brush. Why not? This is my Refer number 2 brush. I'm taking the light champagne shade on the inner corner, which is something you can do with that shade as well. And then taking the apricot shade with the same brush and just pulling that on the inner part of my lower lash line, taking Minimalist and popping that on both sides because I want you all to see all its potential, okay? And I think I just need to pop something on the lips to not look so washed out, you know what I mean? Perfect. Let's take Linda's Fantastic in Pink Opal, one of my favorite go-to shades, just as like a light lip moment. And here we are, finished look for the demo using all the blush shades in Scott's Chic Cheek palette. Now, practically speaking, as you see, with as much product you get in this palette, I think this is more appropriate for a pro to have. For the beauty enthusiast, sure, but if you are a beauty enthusiast like myself, you probably already have a ton of blush. And although this is great to have all these different blush tones, shades, and finishes in one place, is it necessary? No. Is it beautiful? Yes. And I want to make clear, if I say something is unnecessary to buy, it doesn't mean the product is bad. This product is beautiful. I think it performed, it's consistent with the website's description. The textures of these powders are really beautifully smooth and buttery, and the way they apply on skin. I feel this is great if you are a beginner. Actually, I know I said pro, but if you don't have any blush at all, there could be someone out there like that. I think these are really beginner friendly in that you can't mess up with these. I think they're really easy to blend. Crush and blush, you might have to just go in carefully, but even with blush crush, I think you could go a little crazy. Yeah, if you just wanted to pop it right on the hollows, it's going to give you the most color, but it's still easy to blend. Definitely easy to blend. I mean, you see there, you don't need a lot. You don't need a lot at all. So out of all the shades here, this Crush and Blush, this deepest, and this Glowy Showy shade, I would say go in with a lighter hand just so you have a little more control, because look at that. I went in ham and look, I got all this warmth of my cheekbones. But you see there is pretty easy to blend out if need be. Yeah, so if you ever needed to buff down the saturation of your blush, if you just needed to, again, change it and make it more diffuse, you could definitely make that happen with these textures. Now, $58 is a lot of money for a palette, but you also get a lot of product with this palette. And I think with the array of shades included in here, in addition to the two Glowy Showy textures, I think it is worth the $58 if you decide to drop that amount of money, if you decide you think you would get use out of this palette. But again, if you have a lot of blush, if you have the cover of X blush, I know a lot of people love the Laura Mercier blushes. There's so many on the market right now that if you're happy with the blush that you have, great. But if you're looking for something that has a really smooth texture and just an array of shade that's going to give you a different look every time, maybe they all look the same when they're blended together and layered, but I do think you could steer more pink, more rosy, more warm, depending on how you layer these blushes. So that is my take on that. Thank you again so much to Julie for gifting this to me. It's a huge help for sure, and I'm happy to finally get on here and review it for you guys. If you happen to have had your eye on it, if you're wondering what you're gonna do with all these shades and the mango fizz, it was all about the mango fizz. Let me know if this video helped, friends, and until then, that is alright. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and maybe consider subscribing to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another review, tutorial, get ready with me, or Friday night chit chat. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.